Mutine, adjective. Used to describe an individual whose spirit is unyielding, unconstrained, one who navigates life on their own terms, effortlessly. They do not always show up on time, but when they arrive, you notice. An individual confident in their contradictions. They know the rules, but behave as if they do not exist. Mutine, the new fragrance by Miu Miu, defined by you.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Zysol is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Zysol keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Zysol. At night.
Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Thank you very much. We have just come from my birthday dinner and we're going for the birthday cinema.
We always go to the cinema on our birthdays because it's like, your family can't really say no if you say, will you babysit for like 6 hours while you go to dinner and the cinema.
Dinner and a movie.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So there was there were a couple of options. We were floating around. We had the big, bold, beautiful Colin Farrell movie.
Which I really
Margot
want to
Robbie.
see because I think I saw a bit of the trailer, thought it looked really fun, like turned it straight off. But 'tis your birthday and you get the final decision, Dave.
I chose the big, beautiful battle movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson
Wait, it's Leonardo
movie.
DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't even know.
I
do you object?
I do object.
You do object?
You said to me in the restaurant, it's Paul Thomas Anderson. I said, sure.
Correct, it
You
is.
did not say the words Leonardo
It is
DiCaprio.
both of those things. Both things are true.
Oh.
What's the specific issue? Are you afraid that... I mean, you're not... Don't worry, you're 27. You're not 27. He's not going to pursue you. He's not going to leap out of the screen and date you.
It's just an all-round ick. It's just an all-round
Yeah,
ick.
he has developed a bit of an ick, hasn't he?
He hasn't developed an ick.
Well, sorry, he's
most women in the world have developed an ick to him.
Yeah.
Specifically because he doesn't date women over the age of 25 and he keeps getting older.
Yeah, he's literally doing the Matthew McConaughey thing from, what was it, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, or what was that?
Where he goes, the girls keep
That one, yeah.
The girls stay the same, but I get older.
It's not that movie. You know the one, the Richard Linklater one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're all screaming the name at me.
Apologies.
I can't
We
remember.
drank
I've had
something-
an espresso martini.
Yeah, we thought the espresso martini would wake us up, but it's actually just tanked us both. And I do believe
Yeah,
this
but-
is a very, very long movie.
But isn't this how it goes? You get because we're on the alcohol downward tiredness buzz right now, and then the caffeine will kick
I
in
don't think there was
right
enough-
when you're about to go to
No,
sleep.
yeah, well, yeah. I don't think there
Yeah.
was enough caffeine in it because we ain't feeling it. Anyway, okay, yay to Paul Thomas Anderson. Absolute ick to Leonardo DiCaprio. Thank you, Dave.
Kathy, bad news.
What?
Now, I know famously on this podcast, you love a really long movie. You're just like, the longer, the better. Kathy loves a big 3.5 hour epic.
Are you going to break it to me that it's both really long and that Brad Pitt's also in it?
No, Brad Pitt doesn't show up till the second half. And then I'm trying to think, who else do you hate? What other awful
Pick
movie
any man.
stars?
Look, pick
could-
any man in Hollywood, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'll be
Except
there.
Robert Redford, R.I.P.
Yeah, love
Yeah.
Robert Redford, of course. Anyway, right, we're going to go in and watch this now, and we should be back in how many hours?
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, it's looking like.
Dear
So
God.
strap in.
Holy God above in heaven.
I gotta say, I don't know a lick about this film,
Same.
and I'm excited about
Except
that.
that all our patrons recommended it like in the last 2 days. They were all saying how good it is, and of course our patrons have amazing taste and we trust them
And our
implicitly.
patrons are all classy as hell. They're all like, I'm seeing this in 70 millimeter. I'm going in the like IMAX.
And we're like, we're seeing this in an Irish
We're,
cinema screen, of
we're
course.
like, yeah,
It ain't that.
after some espresso martinis.
Yeah.
Very different
Yeah.
vibe.
Anyway, see you on the other side.
Bye.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock
Why?
because they're not needed.
What time is it?
You know, I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the passwords. This is Bob Ferguson. I was a part of the French 75.
This bitch. I felt like Tony Montana.
Steve Lockjaw just attacked my home. And I cannot remember, for the life of my only child, the answer to your question.
Maybe you should have studied the rebellion text a little harder.
I need to find my daughter.
Well, then call us back when you have the time.
You just...
Hi, we're back. We have just seen one battle after another. And if you're wondering scientifically how long it takes for an espresso martini to kick in, the answer is 2 hours and 40 minutes. Because I'm
kicked in for me.
buzzing. Let's go. I'm completely sober but full of beans.
We forgot to say in the intro, because I interrupted you to wish you happy birthday, that this is the podcast where we record our walk home from the movie.
Oh yeah, if it's your first time here at the Cinemile, that's what we're
usually say
doing.
that,
We're
yeah.
walking home. We won't spoil the movie until, of course, we get to Spoiler Street, which is on our way home. Kathy, what do you think of that movie?
I think it was really brilliant. I'm very glad we went to see it. It's very epic. I was never once bored, which is saying a lot given the runtime of that film. Like, the time flew. I was on the edge of my seat. I found the landscapes and the scenery so vast and interesting. I thought the story was brilliant. I thought the soundtrack and the score were phenomenal. I thought all the acting was brilliant. Shade on Leonardo DiCaprio aside, he is of course a fantastic actor. Yeah, look, I was really blown away by it. To be honest, I found it like quite distressing, because we currently look at what's happening in America from afar with all the ICE raids and the anti-immigrant sentiment and the mistreatment of families, and it's just really grim. And this film, of course, is set in that kind of environment. I mean, I say of course, I didn't know that because I had never seen a trailer for the film, but it's just really grim, and like it makes it kind of hard to talk about. I think it's very hard to separate the art from real life, but taking the film in and of itself as a piece of art, I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I really, really recommend it. Dave?
I think firstly, for anyone who hasn't seen the film and wants to know, well, you'll have heard it in the trailer, but yeah, I think this was a brilliant movie. I'm blown away by it. I thought it was incredibly good.
Yeah.
It is certainly not shying away from contemporary events. There's imagery in this movie which is straight out of the news.
Yeah, it's very distressing.
It is overtly political. It has a viewpoint. It has something to say, I think, at the end, which I found quite moving. But all of that said, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you that this film is grim. I think that
I
think the
just know
context.
The
Yes, go.
context is grim.
Correct,
Actually,
yeah.
the film has a lot of levity in
The
it.
film is surprisingly funny, and somewhat light, while also being terrifying and tense and moving and emotional and
I'd say it's
So
like,
it's
honestly,
entertaining.
I wouldn't
It
use this
is-
word lightly, but like I would say it's like you're teetering into masterpiece territory here.
it's got a Coen Brothers in the 90s vibe to
Yeah.
it. Leonardo DiCaprio even could be the dude. He's got Big Lebowski energy.
I mean, I just think
for a
he's
lot of
fully
this.
morphed into Jack Nicholson.
He does look- he looks like
picture
him
Jack
now.
Nicholson in
Yes.
As Good as It Gets, and you're basically picturing
You're
Leonardo
so
DiCaprio.
right. He even has the hair now.
Everything, yeah.
Yes, the Jack Nicholson hair.
I mean, it's an absolutely masterful film. Like,
It
there's
is,
no doubt about it.
And I realised looking at Paul Thomas Anderson's, I was about to say oeuvre, but Jesus Christ.
Jesus, that martini's gone
say
to
the
your
word
head.
oeuvre.
Do you mean
So,
the films
in
he's
any
made?
seriously.
His back
I
catalogue?
was looking at the films he's made, like,
Yeah.
and I realised, and please, for everyone listening, don't make me hand in my film card credentials, but I realised, to my great shame, the only Paul Thomas Anderson movie I've actually seen is Boogie Nights. And
I've seen more than that, but like, could I name them right now?
have you? Could
No.
you name one? I
But I
could
looked
name
at-
them all. I
I
know
looked-
all his
I looked
films.
at
I
his
just realised I
IMDb.
haven't seen any of them.
I looked at his IMDb and I'm like, I've seen more than one of them. But
I know-
like, he's not someone who is front of my mind as a filmmaker. But after watching this, and I know everyone told us to watch Licorice Pizza and we didn't, I will now go back and watch
I think-
Licorice Pizza.
I think, and I thought Boogie Nights was great, and I know all his other films are supposed to be great. We've got There Will Be Blood sitting on the shelf on a Blu-ray. It's just
I've seen There Will Be Blood.
You have you?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
I know what you've seen better than
No,
you've
you
seen.
don't.
When did you see There Will Be Blood?
Dave, don't embarrass yourself on this podcast.
Tell me
by
what happens
mansplaining
in
to me.
There Will Be Blood.
I don't remember, but I've seen it.
Anyway, I am on a similar vibe where I'm like, I now need to go back and correct. Why wasn't, for whatever reason, I just was never compelled to put on any of Paul Thomas Anderson's work. Was never drawn to any of it. And I was just spellbound in this movie.
I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Yes,
like
I
usually
was.
I'd go to the loo during a long film, but I was like, I'm not getting up off my seat.
There wasn't a minute, a second of this that this movie did not have my full attention.
I think it's going to do well as well because my parameter is always our local cinema, where usually it's like us and 3 other people. There was a fair crowd. There must have been 20 people at that screening.
I mean,
That's busy
okay,
for us.
sure, but like, I mean, whatever by the content. I don't know what you mean by do well. This isn't Barbie Oppenheimer levels of.
No, but I'm
screen
like,
pack.
I'm happy to see that many people there, and actually the audience was so into the film,
That-
like gasping.
That
laughing.
I agree with. Like
Yeah.
this film had our entire screen in the palm of its hands.
Yeah.
We were laughing out loud. So, like there were guffaws.
Yeah,
in
and
this
like
movie.
shock, gasp, and when it
Yeah.
ended, which doesn't often happen in the cinema either, a lot of people when the lights came up kept talking about the film.
They turned
And-
to each other
Yeah,
and started
love to see
talking to
that.
each other. I mean, I think people knew each other.
I mean,
obviously. It
also,
wasn't-
like-
not just strangers. It's not bringing strangers
Yeah,
together.
But like
But-
that's like the thesis of this podcast, which is that you talk about a film as soon as you've watched it, and like so often I always observe. I'm always interested in people's behaviour when they leave cinema. So often people just walk out and they start talking about something else. So when people walk out and
Who are
actually
those
talk
people?
the film that they've just seen, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should go to spoilers on it.
Well,
I do think the
a few things-
acting was so good.
Let's-
I love the central characters. I just think the relationships were brilliant. I was just riveted by everyone, to be honest.
A few other things I'd like to say before we get to spoilers. Yes, I agree. There isn't a moment out of place in this movie. The performances are all consistently brilliant. What I loved is that this story felt like it didn't feel like ever like I was watching a screenwriter get me from A to B to C, and I could see often you can see the contrivances of a screenwriting or its construction, and you can admire that and its form, but this felt like I was just watching real life unfold, and that I didn't know at any minute what could happen to any of the characters, and I think he deliberately has just crazy stuff that can happen in real life just happen.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in spoilers, but I'm like just like in another movie I'd be like, well, obviously we have to get from here to here, and this is suddenly just chaos is going to happen,
Yeah.
and we're going in a different way.
And that's why
He
we were on the
writes-
edge of our seat so much, because
Yes.
it was not predictable at all.
No, he writes in such an authentic and organic fashion, while also seeming to tap into some sort of almost that sort of 90s post-Tarantino-esque sort of caricature characters with big identities and personalities clashing against each other in very heightened, almost comical but graphically violent situations. So I had that energy. It's such an interesting movie in this, all these tones mixed together. Like you said, the soundtrack and the needle drops are so good. The score
The piano
the
score.
piano score is this like off-kilter kind of jazz thing.
Sorry that we're doing a John Grisham season at the moment over on our Patreon, and this is this the same person who scored The Firm? Because that entire film is like crazy piano.
Well, your man from who was in Pelican Brief is in this. The president from
President
Scandal.
from
What's that
Scandal
actor's
is
name?
in Pelican Brief, and he's also in this, and he
Playing the same guy,
always
pretty
plays the
much.
same
He's always
guy.
the same guy,
He's always
but-
the same guy. He might be on opposite ends of the political spectrum, but his performance is consistent and brilliant.
But he's always great, and
Yeah.
he's great as being that guy.
Yeah,
he
he's-
just has
yeah.
that guy
It's
energy.
so funny now we have such John Grisham brains that we're just like, oh, there's your man from the Pelican Brief.
You're
Instead
right.
of like, there's the president from Scandal.
You're right. Oh yeah, no, he's totally the guy from Pelican Brief. But you're right though. It did have the Firm energy, and it's got like there's a whole bit in the middle. There's a whole like bit where it's essentially like someone's on the run in the middle of this, and
Yeah.
it goes on for
ages.
ages,
Yeah.
and it is
so good.
Oh,
Now, I'm not comparing this to The Firm. Like, this is a much better film, but there's one other scene I'll get to in spoilers that's straight out of The Firm. It's weird.
We're all Grisham all the time.
Did Paul Thomas Anderson make The Firm?
He
Is my
did,
question.
yeah, he did, yeah.
I also am so impressed that he wrote and directed this.
I know.
Like, that's quite something. Super impressed. I do think we should go to spoilers now, though.
Before we get to spoilers straight though, a quick shout out to some of our new patrons over at patreon.com/the Cinemile, which is our Patreon page. Big thank you and welcome to, hang on, my phone is doing a weird thing. Where's the...
this makes great audio, Dave.
I fixed it. A big shout out to Miriam Agnew.
Hello, Miriam. Miriam actually did my masters with me.
Oh, okay. Hi,
and,
Miriam.
When I saw her name come up, because it's quite unusual, I messaged her, and 'tis indeed her. So hi, Miriam.
Hi, Miriam. Not as unusual as the next name, which is Naginski, or whatever her name is. In quotation marks.
Welcome, Naginski.
Welcome,
Love it.
Naginski, or
A
whatever
pseudonym.
your name is.
This suits this film.
I like
Code
that.
name?
Yes, code
Yeah.
names. What's the password? Very funny. And Nadine B, welcome and thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you to Samantha Newman, to Annie, to Johnny Milne, to Henrika Cull, to Charlotte Espley, and to Christine B, who all joined our Patreon at the Cinemile High Club for the price of a cup of coffee a month, which they get access to an instant back catalogue of, I don't know, hundreds of hours of spoiler TV specials on all kinds of seasons of TV going back 7 years, plus 70 retro movies you can take your pick and choose from. None of them are Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, we need to rectify that.
Okay, we start rectifying that.
Yeah.
And also, I've just recorded a spoiler special on the season 1 of Alien Earth, which it's so fresh in my mind that I was literally sitting in this film comparing, because I thought I was terrible, comparing all the things that thing did wrong and looking at Paul Thomas Anderson saying, this is how you do it,
Right.
guys. And,
Now, Dave, we need
and
to
then I
go-
realised this is a completely
Dave,
unfair
we
comparison.
need to go to spoilers for this film now.
All right, so you're gonna hear a quick ad and we'll be back for spoilers.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so spoilers now for the movie One Battle After Another. We forgot to talk about Sean Penn, because it was funny, we went in and you were like, is Brad Pitt or some other aging actor you don't like going to show up? And there Sean Penn showed up and you were not happy,
Aging
right?
is not a word I have an issue with. It's the type of man who seems to be successful in Hollywood. And needless to say, there are many
Do you have Iker and
allegations.
Sean Penn? Is it?
Worse than there's allegations of violence around Sean Penn.
Is there? Oh dear.
But Leonardo DiCaprio, just to get on my soapbox for a second, my main issue with him isn't his choice of consenting adults to canoodle with, albeit it's kind of tragic of him that he can't hold a conversation with a woman his own age. But mainly my problem with him is his absolute hypocrisy as a so-called climate activist, just to note that he flew on private plane to Jeff Bezos' wedding.
Yeah, come on.
Leave that there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't detract on either side from the fact that they're brilliant actors. I acknowledge that as well. And I feel like as I get older, I genuinely find it, and I love movies. Movies are like my favourite hobby. Every movie I watch, I just feel like a chink knocked off me, you know?
In what regard?
It's like my eyes are wider open than ever to the horrors and complicity of Hollywood and many, many hypocritical people who are in Hollywood. You know, people like Leonardo DiCaprio, who at one point in time I believed cared about the environment.
But sorry, that doesn't have anything to do with watching movies. This is the
they're all in the
backdrop
movies,
to that
like,
industry.
They're all in the movies, though.
Sure, I know,
Show
but
me
I
a
find
movie
the
where-
opposite. I find the opposite. I find
I'm just
where
saying, show me a movie where like I can just be happy with all the stars in it, and I just feel like I could enjoy a film a bit
sure,
more.
fine, okay.
Well,
Well,
put that aside, that dark thought.
that's a very problematic industry for many ways. However, this film is, one, celebrating the right to protest, two, celebrating rebellion in the face of authoritarianism and insidious societal racism at the highest levels. it is potentially, to pick up our conversation from The Long Walk, which I felt was somewhat glorifying political violence. This movie, you could argue,
I don't think it's glorifying it.
It doesn't necessarily glorify it. And I think
our heroes are enacting political violence, though, but we are not pro-political.
No,
violence.
and this is what I'm trying to get across. However, I think it's presenting two sides of a battle that are both operating in the shadows. Right? We don't really see in this movie ordinary society or life. You get these.
But Dave, this is ordinary society in America now, though.
Okay. My point is that the quote unquote society and values that these Christmas Adventure Club people who are representing
MAGA?
the status quo it's an easy sort of analog for. It's not really an analog for MAGA directly, but it is. They purport to be defending and safeguarding values and society when they're literally out there tearing it down and operating in the shadows.
They're the villains, yeah.
The movie doesn't, I think, shy away from its own politics, its own perspective. Perhaps a lot of it is sort of broad and caricatured. It is, I think it's a fine art to be expressing a perspective, to be going cutting real close to the bone and using imagery of mass protests and police brutality and families in cages. This is as we said, imagery.
It's just an everyday occurrence in America, let's be real.
But to do that and then also present a movie that's not lecturing you but is just sort of a very entertaining tale about kind of a father and daughter at the center of it all.
Yeah, and it does, it's a brilliant central story. It's got this brilliant, it's so rare to see like black female leads in movies. We've got 3 here. We've got Chase Infinity, I think her name is,
who plays the daughter. She's great,
so good. And we knew her from, what was that Jake Gyllenhaal TV show?
Presumed Innocent,
in which she's also brilliant. So she's a star.
I was fearing for her life
the entire time
for the whole film. Now, I don't know if you stopped and thought he's probably not going to let the 16-year-old die.
I didn't think he was going to, but that didn't stop me.
But I felt the threat that she was facing.
I thought we might see the mom
moment.
die. I thought we might see the dad die. The mom, played by Teyana Taylor, I've never seen her before. She is
cool.
She is like the driving force of the first half, and then her daughter is the driving force of the second half. So I love to see that. And Leonardo DiCaprio, albeit he's the leading male, and Benicio del Toro's in here as well. He's brilliant. Sean Penn's brilliant in it. It's very much like the women's movies, and I think Sean Penn was such a scary villain.
Oh my god, he was excellent.
Horrifying.
How about his walk?
Yeah.
I gotta hand it to him for whatever he chose to do with this walk.
Is he on steroids?
Brilliant.
Like, what is going on with Sean Penn?
Oh, for sure. It's like you could see the veins popping out of his biceps.
He looks really scary.
But to describe this walk, it's like he's got the straight up posture of a military man, and this also sort of absurdly comical, like his clothes are too tight, as his daughter points out. He kind of wobbles around in a sort of almost comical fashion. He always rushes around.
He got the most laughs in the audience.
But he's funny and scary, which this film manages to do both at the same time often. But yeah, he's like we laughed out loud, all of us, when he showed up at the end walking down the road with the bloody face. He's like the Terminator.
He was. I have to say, there's too much to go into in the film because it's very long, as we said, but the kind of final chase scene with the daughter, then your man, and then Leonardo DiCaprio behind.
How cool is that? How cool was that
road? Yeah, and the hills, and how they made use of it, and
I loved the camera clearly in another car,
so
going
good.
Up and down as well.
And when the daughter's so clever, and I love how she saved herself. When the daughter parks her car exactly at the right spot, blind spot.
Because she's her mother's daughter.
Autumn leaves again. It's that time of year. And then when her and Leonardo DiCaprio finally reunited, I love to see it. I do think where Paul Thomas Anderson fell apart is this something that we've noticed with like loads of older scriptwriters at the moment. They cannot write a group of young people without being like, ooh, one of them must be non-binary or transgender. Now, I'm not saying there aren't groups of friends with non-binary or transgender friends. Of course there are, and we celebrate and respect them. But like the way that he wrote it in was just so ham-fisted, and I'm sorry, but it called to mind the And Just Like That.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm
going to defend it.
It's just like, can you not just have her and her friends without being like, ooh, one of them's non-binary or queer or transgender, and like making such a big issue about it?
I felt, and I'd love to hear everybody else's perspective, so do email in thecinemile@gmail.com or message us on Patreon or Instagram @thecinemile. But I felt in regards to that he was taking the piss out of himself and his own generation, because that scene is deliberately, he doesn't ever attempt, unlike And Just Like That, because I've seen that episode, he doesn't ever attempt to write Gen Z or write any of them. Have you noticed they didn't have really any interactions or dialogue besides just very cursory information stuff? He doesn't attempt to do their voice. What he does is, that scene is presented from the perspective of Leonardo DiCaprio, the awkward dad.
Yeah, that's
who's
true.
very, and
Fair
I
point.
felt Paul Thomas Anderson is taking the piss and the mickey out of the dad and probably himself and all of
the dad
that
who
generation
can't
who's like, I don't know what to call it, but I'm doing my best.
You can't cope just because your man is
and I'll get it wrong. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, that did make me laugh, and I'm sorry to bring up And Just Like That here. The scene that reminded me of The Firm was when, at the end, when they're like to Sean Penn, come into your office and you can decorate it yourself because a man's taste is everything. And I was like, this is straight out of The Firm. But then they gassed him, which
was a little silly.
Why do we think? Why did they bring Sean Penn back, other than the humour of him walking down the street with like literally half his face blown off? Why did they bother bringing him all the way into their office to just
kill him
gas
that way?
and kill him? Because surely if someone was looking for him,
they'd have seen him go in there.
Yeah, like, other than it being a twist for us, I have to say I thought it was a little bit lame. Now, the cinema enjoyed it and everyone kind of laughed, but like, a bit lame for me.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
I think
don't know.
his best scene was when he was, and it was so awful, the scene, it was so tense when him and the daughter were in the chapel
waiting
together.
for the DNA test.
DNA
I haven't been that
It was
invested in a
great
DNA test since Jerry Springer.
it was a really
Watching
good
those
scene. And it was
lines.
so scary, like because we know he'd been really into her mother, and when he actually says like, you're a mutt to her, and that's the reality of racism. And I'm glad this film didn't shy away from like the absolute dehumanization of black and brown people that's happening in America. And like, not to get on my soapbox, but like, I'm so pleased, right, that all the boycotts against Disney worked so swiftly. And not that I'm a huge fan of him, but that Jimmy Kimmel got brought back on air, because it was really scary, right, to think someone would be kicked off air like that. But can I just finish my point?
Yes, agree.
If the Democratic Party and the everyday Americans wanted to, they could go on a general strike and stop what's happening with ICE. And that country is not doing it. We've seen how quickly boycotts can work when everyone puts their welly behind them.
You must acknowledge that there are protests happening.
There are
protests.
mass but I'm talking about, like, the Democratic Party should be organising national protests. It should be a national, everyone's on strike. There needs to be something that is not happening in that country. When you see how quickly Jimmy Kimmel actually got back on air when Disney lost that much money,
because
that country is all about money.
The consumers and the electorate have so much more power than they realise.
And it's
but the Democratic Party are not going to do anything.
There is, like, and I'm sorry for us to be on our soapbox here, but like, the power is all in their pockets.
Yeah.
Don't stop buying non-essential items. Stop spending money. Do something about it. And this film just riled me up and infuriated me.
In what sense?
In the sense of, like, almost from what I understand with polling, even most of MAGA, Republican, Democrats, most people do not agree with what ICE is doing, and yet it's just happening in plain sight.
Yeah.
And there are many, many, many amazing people who are putting a stop to it and filming ICE people and forcing them to leave premises and, you know, supporting their neighbours. But, like, on a national level, it's just happening. And like I think that's what made me so angry about this film. And I'm sorry, I'm going to stop talking about it now because I don't want to be a bummer on this podcast.
Just to be clear,
this
you're
film
not
just
you're
riled
not
me up.
angry about this film. This film has
No, the film's
inspired
riled me up.
anger in
Yeah.
you about the current
Because it
climate
inspired me
in
to
America.
see, and not in a violent way, because like I just don't approve of violence at all. But it inspired me to see the likes of Benicio del Toro, who's got like essentially like an underground railway situation happening, you know.
Yeah.
And he's helping, and I know there'll be thousands of people in America doing that, but like, where is it at a national level? Do you know what I mean? Like, ICE is just an absolute everyday menace to society. And anyway,
Like,
literally no one came here to listen to us talk
If
about
you
politics.
showed this film 20 years ago, like if he wrote, and he's been developing this since the 90s, it's loosely inspired by a book I read from 1990. And he's amalgamated some stories he'd been writing for years together. But if he'd released this in 2000 with the exact same plot and context, we would all look at that and say this is a Children of Men-esque dystopian future. How frightening that this is all happening right now.
And I admire him very much for making the film and bringing the setting to life. I really do. But it's also just like such a massive bummer.
Well, yes, but art is incredibly important to inspire and empower political movement. And I think even Jimmy Kimmel said that in his return speech. And you can say whatever. The point, you said you're not a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I wouldn't be either, but that's not the point. The point is that
he
a
told a
voice
joke
was
about the president and he got kicked off air. I mean, that's just censorship.
essentially he got kicked off for nothing.
Yeah.
And that is censorship. But what he got kicked off because the head of the FCC basically publicly intimidated Nexstar to do it, and it happened. And that is what's incredibly
and in less
scary
than a
and
week,
frightening.
a boycott brought him back. So that's where I'm like, when will Americans realise
Yeah.
how much power they have in their pockets? Because sadly, the morals aren't there
But let's
in the
bring-
country.
let's-
But the money is what it all hinges around.
Let's bring it back to the movie.
Bring it back to the movie.
The end of the
riled up.
movie, I thought, was just bang on the money. This sort of I loved her letter from her mother.
Yeah, it
we
was beautiful.
failed, and this kind of feels like where we're at now. Like we failed because we all let this happen.
Yeah.
And it's been sliding
And the mother
this
failed
way
because
for 10 years.
the mother did a horrific thing. Like, the mother shot a man dead.
Yeah.
And that will always fail you, because that is just not the way to protest. Killing an innocent man while they robbed a bank.
And actually
I like that they showed us that too. And then the mother was a turncoat and she was a rat and she got all her friends killed. So I found that very interesting that the film like let that happen to her as well. Like, she was such a unique character. We also never see, like, we really never see depictions of women who don't want to be a mother and who don't want to be with their kid on screen. It's very rare. So I find that really interesting, because that is something probably a lot of women experience and it's just not talked about. And I thought her whole character was just so unique.
In the first act of the film, he had this masterful way of montaging where we were just like floating through various scenes, and he was telling us so much information, just like the baby being, suddenly she was pregnant, the baby's born, Leonardo DiCaprio's character is hearing her complain through the door to somebody, and it's just like you got it but it moved at this lovely dreamlike pace.
Yeah, and then next minute the daughter's like 16, so I thought that was so good.
Yeah,
I think the whole way they clipped it together was good. I think we should go now. We've talked about this film too long.
one last thing. I thought the whole middle sequence from as soon as they show up at the high school and you know they're coming for the house,
God, it was so
incredibly
scary.
tense and scary, and just the whole there's so many oneers going through all these sets. There's no sets. I shouldn't say sets. These are just they're filming in buildings. They're filming in real buildings.
So many places.
And
like,
everything
it's so
just
vast.
looks. There's nothing's really lit like a movie.
Yeah, I
it
love
just
that whole
felt very
sequence where Leonardo
real.
DiCaprio was just trying to charge his phone. And it's so funny because I was actually in the airport last week, and I can't tell you how much I wandered around that airport because I've got a crap charger. I like trying to find a plug it would actually work in, and him just like desperate, and then him not remembering all the passcodes.
I mean, it's laugh out
that
loud
was
funny.
real comedy. That you're right. That was real Coen Brothers stuff.
But it's like what a great idea. This aging like
He's stoner.
sort of
He drinks too much.
stoner, former political revolutionary who suddenly has to kick his brain back into gear
It's a
and
great
can't.
concept.
Like when he fell off the roof, it was
funny.
like, oh my god! But
And
that's
also,
what I mean. Like I don't like that's what would happen. He wouldn't make it through the
Jump
roof.
over, like I couldn't jump over a puddle, like, do you know what I mean?
But like the other thing I liked is like how even the chases, you're like, oh, he has to catch up. No, DiCaprio's chasing Sean Penn, and it's like, oh, they're gonna catch up and have a confrontation. It's like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen in real life. This is like, it's just chaos. Cars are passing each other, and you're lucky if you can find out where anyone's going, and just stuff is happening. Like it's chaotic.
Yeah, it is. I love it. One of my favorite scenes earlier on, and it was when, like, Sean Penn's just crazy. Like he shows up to her house with like flowers, and then she doesn't open the door, and then he just goes and get a ram. Comes back.
He's so frightening.
And then she's just like, I'm out of here, and he's just like, oh. He never thought that he thought she'd just stay around for him.
But what an interesting character! How sort of broken he is psychologically, you know, and it sort of it cuts to the hypocrisy of these types of people, you know, who are, you know, the homophobes who are closeted homosexuals, the racists who are attracted to. It's just like it's
so strange. It's such self-loathing.
Yeah, exactly. And you felt that emanating from this character. He was so deeply broken.
Yeah, and he had like this savior complex, and I just love that she's like, well, F you, and she's off to Mexico. And I think the film's so clever that they never showed her to us again.
I really admire it for that. You're just waiting for her to come back, and she doesn't.
I thought she was going to be like the head nun, you know, like Sister Act style.
Every time a car pulled up, I was like, that's her now.
Yeah, anyway, we better go. Sorry for soapboxing there. I know nobody comes here to listen to us talk about politics, but this is the kind of movie that inspires these discussions, so it's good. And thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
God damn it! Viva la revolution!